my take on the way I think about launches. And I'm going to say maybe some uncomfortable and maybe even controversial things because I think they need to be said. And I think privately, a lot of people here agree with me. Um, well, I know they do because I've been talking to you all about it. Here's the thing. I have an unpopular opinion. I believe that bestseller campaigns are disingenuous at best and bogus at worst. And I say that as someone who knows the allure of the orange ribbon. Now, you're seeing on the screen here that I'm an award winning author, an indie author of 3 books. They've reached #1 bestseller in 30 Amazon categories across 4 countries. In fact, prepping for this call, I recounted and I had been saying 29 since last year. It turns out it's 30. So I found one more that I didn't remember I had. So the question though is, does that make me an international best-selling author? And I know that there are some who would claim that if an author reached #1 in just one US category and one Canadian or UK category, that that makes them an international best-selling author. And I just wonder, is it really useful to claim that if it takes less than 100 books sold to get those 2 orange ribbons? And I want to compare this for a moment to a book like by Phil M. Jones, which is exactly what to say. It has sold more than 1 million copies and is available in 14 languages. It was published by a hybrid publisher, Page Two. So it's not like it was traditionally published in this like big marketing plan. And there's just no way to really call both those authors international bestsellers when the claim just kind of feels a little dubious, right? They don't feel like they're on the same scale. Brand new authors, understandably, want their books to be successful. They poured time, money, and talent into creating this book. And the problem, I think, is that we're making these first time authors think that the bestseller ribbon is where they need to measure for success. It's where they need to focus their attention on. And truthfully, that orange ribbon only appears for a brief time. And for most authors, that might be 1 hour. It could be a moment in time and then gone. And the evidence that the book ever hit #1 in a category does not stay on the book sales page. So you'll see again, like I've got these 3 books. If you went to these 3 pages, you would not see any evidence, like meaning actual ribbons or anything that says that it actually happened. But what you will see are the number of reviews each of these books have received. So what I'm showing on the screen is the number of ratings. And for each of these, it's also a very high percentage of reviews. Because I've also seen some authors who have over 100 ratings, the stars, and less than 10 reviews. And I'm always like, what does that even mean? Over the last 3 months, I have met with dozens of experts, including many hybrid publishers, as I was building the BizBook Publishing Hub. And I learned that many publishers support their authors once the book is published by referring them to somebody who runs these kinds of bestseller campaigns. Now, in private, they all agreed that the orange ribbon was a nice to have success metric. I mean, something wrong with it. It's just nice to have. It doesn't have as much direct impact in the ability to earn money as maybe other, strategies might. But there's a reason they keep making these referrals. They told me it's because it's what the authors are asking for. And I just think we should be educating first-time business authors about the difference between publishing and launching. So publishing is the act of uploading files to Amazon or English Spark or wherever you're printing a book. A strategic launch includes building a launch team filled with likely prospects and referral partners with the goal of getting 50 or more Amazon reviews. And that process that's needed to get those reviews wakes up and engages the author's network, leading the conversations with their likely prospects, which also means new revenue opportunities. A byproduct of a strategic launch, not the main goal, is reaching #1 in at least one category. The main purpose is building a pipeline for the offer that comes after the book has been launched. So why don't authors focus on building these launch teams and engaging with their prospects? I've been thinking about this and I realized I have 3 reasons that I've heard over and over again. And one is, you know, they feel uncomfortable asking for support. They just don't know if they want to ask people for for even a favor. Like it just feels uncomfortable to them. And I want you to take a moment to consider how you'd feel if you could do someone else a favor. Now, the request needs to be right for the relationship, right? If you have never met me and you ask me to endorse a book, I may not squeeze you into my busy schedule versus maybe one of my community members that I see all the time asking me. 100%, I will figure out how to make this happen. It also has to be easy to fulfill. The easier it is that you can help support them in fulfilling this request, the more likely they're to do it. And let's say I told you that I had written a book that could help you improve your Zoom skills. Hint, I did. And it happens that you use Zoom to both sell and deliver your services. So, of course, you want to be up to date with design and facilitation and understanding the platform. And then I ask you, will you join my launch team and write an honest review? I'm going to give you early access and support you in getting that review written and posted on Amazon. Now, the people on the launch team who then actually follow through and do write a review and publish it, they're going to feel awesome. And so will I, because those reviews are coming in. So resisting making that request to write a review means denying the people in your community that feeling of awesomeness. And you don't want to be doing that. Instead, I want to suggest that you figure out the right level of request for your relationships and then do everything in your power to make it easy to fulfill that request. And I want to give you a hint here. Asking once, will you be my launch team? And then never following up does not make it easy. In my book, what happens is I write down your name and the word book review. And then over time, my to-do list gets rewritten. And eventually it just says your name or book. And I'm like, who is this for? When does it due? What's the timing? And I started to feel a little anxious that I've forgotten something. And now I'm feeling a little bit bad. I don't want to, do you want people to be feeling bad about you? No, you want to feel supported and held and able to follow through or able to say, actually, I meant to do it, but things have come up and I can't. So you need to have a plan for following up with people. So let's see. I've also heard from authors that they fear that they don't know enough people to be on their launch team or they don't know the right people. And for this, I got to point out that, to be honest, if you want 50 plus reviews, you need 3 to 4 times that many people on your launch team. For every one review you get on Amazon, you need 3 to 4 times that many people, which means for 50 reviews, you're aiming to get 150 to 200 people on your launch team, which, yes, that can sound kind of daunting. But since I tend to work with authors who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and well beyond, it's kind of laughable to think that they don't know anybody because they've had a work experience for 20, 30 or more years. I think the problem is that they haven't had a process to dig through their existing network and prioritize who to reach out to. And to solve for this, I developed that process that helps them discover their likely prospects and their referral partners and to prioritize who to reach out to. I wrote about this. It's called Wake Up Your Network. And it's in my second book, Smallest Big Results. And it helps authors and my other business growth strategy coaching clients really go through their existing network, whether it's their LinkedIn list or some other list. And it helps them figure out and discover who their likely prospects and referral partners are and how best to approach them. And my premise is basically that no matter how big or small your email list is for your business, your network is always bigger and likely an untapped resource. So I can help you tap into those resources in a thoughtful way. Now, the last excuse that I've heard, which is not an unlegitimate one, it's very legitimate, in fact, is that, wow, this sounds like a lot of effort. It is. And I have to tell them about all the follow-ups, right? We talked about how you can't just send one message. You've got to do, get all these people on a list. Then you've got to do all these follow-up emails and nudges and hand-holding, et cetera, to guide people through the process of writing and publishing a review. Yes, it does take a lot of effort because there is no shortcut to building a relationship. And that is, in fact, what this whole exercise is about, because it's these people that are on the launch team. It's these relationships that are going to help the author who wrote a book to grow their business. It's these relationships that are going to build that pipeline that's going to lead to new revenue. So if you put all this effort into writing and editing and publishing a book, doesn't it make sense to put effort into making sure it's read by your best prospects and referral partners? But the good news is you don't have to figure out how to do this all on your own. It is a lot to do on your own. Investing in the right kind of support will help you avoid common pitfalls and focus your energy on the most efficient strategies. And that's where folks like me come in. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, business growth strategist, book launch strategist. I'm also an event design consultant and an executive Zoom producer. So I get to design and MC my authors' virtual book launch parties. And what I do is I make them the guest of honor and I help guide their participants to whatever the offer is that comes after the book. I've got these 3 books. They all have over 200 Amazon reviews. It's 650 Amazon reviews in total. And my 3rd book, again, it reached over 240 reviews in that first month, 250 at this point or over. And each launch that I've done for myself and for my clients has also led to new revenue. And that is the measure of success you can take to the bank. So if you're moving through the writing process and getting ready to send your manuscript to the editor, I want you to take a moment to define what success means to you. Like, how do you know that you've had a successful launch? So personally, why I focus so much on these reviews is that they are social proof on the book sales page. Now, I get, as a podcast host, pitched nearly every day by a PR company or a podcast guest placement company. They're wanting to get their clients on my show. And one of the things I do is I look to see if that author, and they're always authors, how they've done on Amazon. And a majority of these pitches have authors with less than 20 reviews. Just take that in for a moment. These authors are spending probably more than $1,000 a month to get pitched when they haven't made any effort to activate their own network. And I do say it factors into the decision on whether or not I want to have them on my show, particularly when it's a book about networking. And then I'm like, really? So if you write about a popular topic, maybe having 50 or 100 or more reviews will help separate you from your competitors and make it easier for you to claim that you're an actual authority on this topic. I also want you to think about how many books written by AI have flooded the market and how having these reviews would help would-be readers know that your content was actually useful and worth reading. Now, the other thing to think about is that reviews with permission can be posted elsewhere. So it can be put on your website or as a LinkedIn recommendation or on Goodreads. You can even turn it into a graphic that could be shared on social media. In my process, those early reviews are submitted back to the author based on the advanced reader copy before the book's even published. And I got to say, they come, and I know this for personal reasons, at a critical time when you just need a little boost. And getting to read these early reviews about this piece of content that you've worked for months on before the book's even out, you get this little boost of adrenaline because people are reading it and finding it helpful, and they appreciate all that you poured into it. I think it's exactly what authors need as they move into a soft launch. As you can see, there are many reasons to focus on getting quality reviews from the right people, which brings me to my last point. I also work with authors to relaunch their published books. Sometimes they relaunch them. Sometimes we're just trying to figure out new marketing plans for a book that they feel it's not serving them as well as it could. And I got referred to someone recently. And when I went to join the call, I looked and they had 33 reviews, not just 33 star ratings, but 33 written reviews. So I was kind of curious why they needed my help because that doesn't happen by accident. When I talked to this author, they said, well, I'm not getting any leads. And I don't know who to sell to. It's just not happening. And I said, well, wait, how did you get 33 reviews? Because again, like that takes effort. She's, oh, my friends and family, they really came through for me. And I was like, oh, now I know what the problem is because friends and family don't have budgets and don't need to hire you. And so even though they wrote these reviews, it's not going to help you build that pipeline to grow your business. The same is true if you hire somebody for them to send your book out to a list and for that random list of people to write reviews. You'll never really be building relationships with those folks. And again, it will not help you turn that review into revenue. That's why I think it's so important to get the right people, your likely prospects and referral partners, onto your launch team. If you want to discuss any of this with me, I'm happy to schedule a complimentary 30-minute chat. If you can, fill out the link that Christopher just dropped into chat, but robbiesamuels.com/book launch support.